Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel and to this video. Today we will be painting a starry galaxy, and I will be using this Centenaire watercolor paper. It is 3000 GSM or 140 pounds, 18 by 26 centimeters or 7 by 10 and 1/4 of an inch, and also 100% cotton. First thing I am doing is prevetting the entire paper, and as you can see, I've really soaked in my brush quite well in the water, and then adding it on top of the paper on all the surface of the paper. And while I'm mixing my paints, the paper is slightly drying. It is soaking in that water because I don't want the puddles on the top of the paper. I just want it to be quite damp. And afterwards, I'm adding a little bit, this is mix of violet and just a little bit of blue in it onto my sky. And so I do want to make it one layer sky, so I will be adding quite a lot of pigments, going back and forth, adding a little bit of violet, a little bit of blue, a little bit of black. And now in the lower part there is this, I guess this is the lake, and it is very still, so I decided to add a little bit of the yellow, just a little bit of the yellow, because when that dries it will just give a slightly yellowish tint. There is not a lot of yellow in our sky, just in a lower part where the sun is setting, so I am adding that yellow also on the upper part of the water, and then some blue, some violet, and some black on the lower part of the water. As I said, I'm just trying to keep my paper wet by going back and forward on the bottom, on the top, because I don't want to have a lot of layers, and that is the crucial thing. When you don't want a lot of layers, you have to prevent your paper quite well, let the water soak into your paper, and then on top add a lot of watercolors, a lot of pigments, and use a lot of pigments, not very watered down colors, but quite saturated colors, and work quite fast, because if you are going slower and just paint on one part of the paper, the other part will dry. But if you're going back and forward on the one part, then the other, but then back, so that then you will just keep your paper wet all the time. Also, I did add a little bit of white gouache in some parts because I do want one part of the sky to be quite light, and for the little bit more of the details, a little bit more of that darker pigment into my sky, I'm using slightly smaller brush, and I did mix in black into my violet and into my blue, and I'm just also in my palette, I'm mixing all of those colors, not trying to use maybe only blue at the time, maybe only violet, but I'm mixing all those colors. So also I added a little bit of darker brown. This is something like burnt sienna, just nearest to the white part of the sky. Also, I've added a couple of sprinkles with white gouache just to let that white also mix into the colors, and then left it to dry completely to move on to painting my mountains. And for the mountains I am using black, and just adding, I did not pre-sketch my mountains, I'm just wiggling them, so something that I'm looking at the reference photo and just adding those where I see fit, maybe even change something, add something, take away something. So I will not be painting the entire mountain in just one color, in just black, making a silhouette, but I will also be leaving some parts, as you can see on the finished painting, I will be leaving some parts white, and also not really white, but just showing the background from it, because those parts are maybe covered with snow, so they're reflecting light from the sky and reflecting the colors also from our galaxy. So I'm not using a lot of water in my brush, just enough to make it spread slightly, and also to leave those dry brushing marks, dry brushing techniques. And then prevetted the part where the lake is, and adding a little bit of that black, some shadows into the water also. And you could have seen I tilted my paper so to help the paint bleed slightly and spread downwards, creating that shadows. Also a little bit more of the blacks in the corners of my painting, and then some blue, some violet color where I just see fit. And you should all do that while the paper is wet, because this time we do not want dry brushing techniques in our water, because we wanted to make it look still. And if you add some pigment while the paper is dry, it won't look still anymore. It will be looking like there are some waves in it, and that is not what we want here. We do really want our water to be still. Now with this smaller brush, script brush with very pointy tip, I'm adding some details to the water, making it look like there is something floating on the water. Also, when finished with my mountain, I was just looking at it, and I did wanted to add a little bit more of the pigment, because in that lower part it was looking almost as white, so I did wanted to add a little bit more of the violet to make it look as it is reflecting the color from the sky. So I did add a violet, dry it completely, and then on top add a little bit of the black. And for the last thing, I've sprinkled some white gouache on top for the stars, and then again with that script brush pointy tip, I've added some shooting stars. And with that, I'll be finishing off with this painting. Quite simple and easy. Maybe it looks a little bit more difficult than it is, but really it's not. Just give it a go, give it a shot, and I'm sure you will love it. And if you do like this video, please hit the like button, share it, comment, and if you haven't still, please do subscribe to my channel. What are you waiting for? Please do. That would mean a lot to me. And maybe consider joining my channel. That would really also mean a lot to me. That's that join next to the subscribe button. You can click on that, listen to the offer and the side. Guys, again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.